It was exactly midnight when the sky over Moscow turned alive with a sound that no one had expected. For months, the Russian capital had slept under the illusion of safety, protected by its advanced air defense systems and layers of radar networks. But that night, a silent swarm began crossing the borders. 193 Ukrainian drones, moving low and fast, like a storm of steel and light. The first radar ping came from the outskirts of Bryansk. Operators thought it was a false alarm. Small blips moving irregularly, almost like a flock of birds, but as the data multiplied, they realized this was not nature. This was precision. This was war reaching the heart of Russia. Within minutes, emergency sirens erupted across Moscow Oblast. The people of the city looked up, some from their apartment balconies, others from the empty streets, and saw the sky flicker not from fireworks, but from the defense batteries beginning to open fire. Tracers shot upward, bright lines cutting through the night, trying to find invisible targets that danced in the darkness. The drones were launched from multiple locations deep within Ukrainian territory. Military intelligence later confirmed they were part of a coordinated strike, designed not to destroy Moscow, but to test its defenses, to overwhelm the system that had long claimed to be impenetrable. Each drone carried small payloads, some explosive, others equipped with electronic warfare devices meant to jam Russian radar and communications. By 12:30 a.m., the swarm had reached the outer ring of Moscow's defense perimeter. The Russian Pan-Sirius-1 systems came alive, rotating turrets scanning the sky. Operators locked targets and fired. Explosions erupted in the clouds, turning night into day for a few terrifying seconds. Windows shook miles away as airbursts lit the horizon, but the drones kept coming. Local videos later shared on Telegram showed dozens of glowing dots moving in formation, then scattering, diving, and climbing again. Some were shot down, spiraling into fiery trails, others slipped through. Their tiny engines buzzed like insects, a sound that grew louder, closer, more haunting. Inside the Kremlin, emergency meetings were held. The president was informed immediately. Reports were conflicting, some saying a refinery had been hit south of the city, others claiming power substations were on fire. The air was thick with confusion. What mattered most was not the physical damage, but the message being sent. Ukraine had shown it could reach Moscow not once, not twice, but with hundreds of drones simultaneously. At 12:47 a.m., explosions rocked an industrial district west of the city. Witnesses described flashes followed by deep rumbles, as if thunder was trapped underground. Firefighters rushed to the scene, their red lights painting the smoke. By then, the air defense operators had already fired over 400 missiles and thousands of rounds of ammunition. Yet the radar screens still showed targets inbound. Russian social media flooded with videos, some showing streaks of anti-aircraft fire, others capturing drones skimming rooftops, narrowly avoiding skyscrapers. In one clip, a drone crashes into a parking lot, erupting into flames. The impact was minor, but the psychological shock was immense. For the first time in centuries, Moscow was under a real aerial assault. Meanwhile, in Kiev, Ukrainian officials remained silent. There were no claims, no denials, only cryptic posts about long nights and longer distances. Military analysts speculated that this was part of a new phase in the conflict, a technological war of attrition, where machines replaced soldiers in the skies. By 1:10 a.m., several power grids flickered and went dark. The city's skyline dimmed, leaving only the distant glow of fires and the blinking of emergency lights. Russian defense channels began warning that this was the largest coordinated drone attack ever attempted against the capital. They claimed success, over 150 drones shot down, but that still meant dozens had breached the defenses. The next morning, the sun rose over a city scarred but standing. Smoke curled from distant industrial zones. Roads were blocked. Residents posted photos of debris scattered across parks and rooftops. Some pieces bore Ukrainian markings, others fragments of Western-made components. The symbolism was unmistakable. Ukraine had brought the war to Russia's doorstep. Military experts around the world analyzed the event. They noted that the swarm tactic was unlike anything seen before. Unlike conventional attacks where a few missiles are launched, this one used sheer volume to overload systems. It wasn't just about destruction, it was about proving a point. No shield is perfect. Inside Russia, panic turned into anger. Television hosts called for revenge. Officials promised stronger retaliation. But beneath the rhetoric, there was fear that another night like this could happen again, and next time, the drones might carry heavier payloads or smarter guidance systems. By afternoon, satellite images confirmed several impact points near Moscow's energy infrastructure. Though official reports minimized the damage, the evidence told another story. Smoke plumes, burned storage tanks, and blackened soil signs that the drones had hit their mark. Internationally, reactions were mixed. Western nations expressed concern about escalation, while quietly acknowledging Ukraine's growing technical capabilities. Military observers called it a warning not just to Russia, but to every country relying on outdated defense grids. In modern warfare, they said, speed, numbers, and intelligence can defeat even the strongest walls. As night fell again, the people of Moscow looked to the sky with new eyes. Every light, every plane, every star seemed suspicious. The illusion of safety had been shattered. Somewhere across the border, teams of Ukrainian engineers were already analyzing data, planning improvements, preparing for the next wave. The 193 drone swarm would go down in history not for its destruction, but for what it revealed: the vulnerability of even the most powerful nations when faced with relentless innovation and courage. The silence of the following night felt heavier than before. Everyone waited, wondering if the hum of engines would return, if the sky would once again burn with light. And somewhere deep inside the Kremlin, a realization set in the war had changed forever. The battlefield was no longer confined to trenches or front lines. It now stretched into the air, the cities, and the minds of millions. Moscow had survived the night, but its invincibility had not.